A Boeing 737 crashed in South Korea, killing 179 people. The tragic scene of the explosion of the plane was captured, which was shocking. The preliminary investigation showed that the plane was forced to land due to a flock of birds, and the landing gear could not be lowered, causing the plane to land hard and lose control, leading to the tragedy. Let us mourn for the deceased, may they rest in peace, and hope that their families can heal their grief and continue their lives. However, in today's video, I still want to talk about a topic that I have mentioned many times, that is, the topic of large Western technology companies being occupied by Indians. Because I have a lot of criticisms of India, especially the Modi government, many Indians have classified me as hostile to India and discriminating against Indians. In fact, every word I say is based on objective facts and puts forward neutral views. It's just that these views make many Indians uncomfortable and they are unwilling to face reality. In the video about American astronauts stranded in space, I mentioned that Boeing hired a large number of Indian engineers, including software and hardware engineers. At the same time, they also cooperated with a large number of Indian companies to determine that they are Boeing's suppliers, some of which are startups with no aerospace experience, and some are large Indian groups such as Tata. They produce landing gear doors, vertical tails, bottom beams, underwing and overwing panels, fuselages, secondary structures, and tail cones for Boeing. Boeing mentioned in a previous investigation that Indian companies use aluminum alloys to replace titanium alloy parts from China, which makes Boeing's aircraft unable to withstand pressure in extreme environments, resulting in frequent safety accidents. They also pointed out that the code quality of Indian engineers is very poor, resulting in a surge in bugs, which seriously threatens flight safety. Boeing then made a decision to lay off Indian management and employees on a large scale. In fact, it is not only Boeing. Twitter has also fired Indian CEO and executives. Starbucks, IBM, and even Microsoft and Google, where Indian CEOs are in office, are doing this. I don't want to label Indians negatively, because I know that the Indian Institute of Technology has trained a large number of elites, and it is no less difficult for these people to get admission in the fierce competition than to be admitted to MIT. Satya Nadella, Pichai Sundararajan, and others have all handed in beautiful transcripts in their jobs. But we must say that India is a huge country, with a large number of Indians using fake academic qualifications to immigrate to Western countries such as the United States and Canada, and at the same time rely on hometown connections to enter Western technology companies. Once a company hires an Indian executive, it will soon be filled with a large number of Indians and then quickly become Indianized, entering a terrible, strange disease. The company's efficiency rapidly declines, the product quality rapidly declines, and reliability becomes an unknown. Let's not talk about Boeing, IBM, which are already on the verge of crisis, or Twitter, which has been hit hard. Let's talk about Microsoft, which is still quite successful. Let me ask you, don't you feel that the probability of Windows crashing is much higher than in the past? My MacBook has only crashed 3 times in its more than 4 years of operation, which is the same number of crashes my Windows laptop last week. I was even forced to turn off Windows automatic updates because this stupid update program always caused my graphics dock to not work properly, and I had to reinstall NVIDIA's drivers. When I quickly typed a piece of code and was about to prepare for testing, my editor was stuck. Yes, the system crashed. I am a person who rarely uses IDEs and uses lightweight editors or even Notepad for most development. I know that Microsoft's stock price is high, but has Microsoft developed any revolutionary products after Ballmer stepped down? Let's talk about Google again. It also has a high stock price and beautiful data. But Google has also lost its ability to innovate in science and technology. Google used to be a leader in AI, and the DeepMind team can be said to be far ahead of other AI teams. However, when OpenAI became popular and launched ChatGPT, Google's various AI assistants, from Bard to Gemini, were completely reduced to foils. Google was once the world's first large-scale IT company to carry out driverless research and development, and its driverless experimental model made other companies out of reach. However, when the driverless business in many large cities in China has been commercialized, Google seems to have fallen behind. I remember that I used to debate with Indian netizens about whether their IT capabilities were strong or not. Because I am a programmer, and my personal experience made it difficult for me to maintain a respectful attitude towards Indian IT. I know the quality of their engineers too well, and the code quality is really as good as shit. I once asked an Indian friend a very simple question. Has India created any popular apps so far? Like WeChat, TikTok, Temu? In other words, has there ever been even one Indian hardware company like Huawei, DJI, or BYD? I don't understand why stupid Americans believe that Indian engineers will make their products well. In fact, when the Indian team poured into Blizzard, they ruined my favorite classic games such as Diablo and World of Warcraft, making Blizzard a company with no ambition and only relying on past glory to make money. Blizzard's Warcraft and World of Warcraft used to dominate the desktop games. But now, the overlords of desktop games are League of Legends and Dota 2. The former is a subsidiary of China's Tencent, and the latter is a substitute developed by a group of gamers who are dissatisfied with Blizzard and joined Valve. On the mobile side, top games such as Honor of Kings and Genshin Impact are basically developed by Chinese companies. It is difficult for Blizzard to keep up with the pace of competition. Even if it throws itself into the arms of Microsoft Daddy, it will not help. If Americans firmly believe in political correctness, that is, to reuse democratic Indians and exclude authoritarian Chinese, then I must bless them, because freedom and democracy are priceless. There is a poem. Life is dear, love is dearer. Both can be given up for freedom. For freedom, we can give up life and love. For freedom, there is no problem in resolutely resisting the authoritarian Chinese and reusing the democratic Indians. Moreover, Indians are good at talking, and their words make leaders feel comfortable and fulfilled. Chinese can do nothing except burying their heads in work. But it has only been a short time since Boeing kept putting the blame on the Indians. The Indians were also blunt, accusing Boeing of problems with its own quality management system, which had nothing to do with India. These two good friends who were still in the honeymoon period yesterday have already torn their faces today. The United States is shorting India on a large scale. Western capital is also withdrawing from India on a large scale. And American companies have also put the cleanup of Indian executives and employees on the agenda to check for safety hazards. It can be said that in the face of real interests, the alliance of freedom and democracy is worthless. As I mentioned many times in previous videos, Modi and the Indian government need to cherish India's international reputation. All Indian citizens need to be vigilant. Once the reputation is destroyed, it is difficult to repair. Yes, when the West and China were in fierce confrontation, you gained a lot of dividends. You could easily buy some sensitive technologies from Western countries, attract some Western investment, immigrate to Western countries, and occupy management positions in large Western companies. However, any organization is essentially selfish and profit-seeking. If your ability does not match the status you have obtained, the illusory glory will quickly fade in the face of reality, and what awaits both sides is endless resentment and mutual accusations. If India's international reputation drops below zero when Modi steps down, how can the next Prime Minister save India? Bragging is not necessarily a crime, but it is really harmful.